June 1862 on a summer's afternoon. We took the bus from Bambras and she was heavy laden, and away we went down Collingwood Street, that's on the road to Blaydon. Some of you wanted to join in the chorus there, didn't you? Well, don't you worry, you might just get your chance later. 1862, Victorian England, the Industrial Revolution, a time that changed the world, when a new and inventive capitalist class cast aside the dead hand of the landed aristocracy, a time of great riches and even greater poverty, a time when villages grew rapidly into small towns and towns into cities as people moved in from rural areas to work in large-scale industry. A time that gave rise to the mighty industrial working class. A tough time. A time when playing cards and arm wrestling would often end up in fights. And that was in the temperance halls. A time when a distant relative was somebody who lived in Sunderland. A time when the bonniest lass on the quayside was called Cushy Butterfield. And a time when this was but a twinkle in a Saudi prince's eye. You see, Newcastle United didn't come into being until 1892, when football was taken up by the working classes. But before then, it was rowing, or aquatics, as the Victorians called it, that really fired the passion. Now then, I need to explain something here. Rowers technically only use one oar, whereas scullers use two. But the oars themselves are often referred to as sculls, and the boat itself is also known as a scull. Clear as mud, eh? Have we got any rowers in tonight?
Why, aye.
Oh, aye. Parked a scull outside, have you? We've flew past Armstrong's factory, up to the Robin Adair, just coming over the railway bridge, where the bus wheel flew off there. The lasses lost their crinolines, and the veils would hide their faces. I got two black eyes and a broken nose, and in the bleeding races. Listen. June the 5th, 1862. Bambra's Music Hall, Newcastle. The Bleeding Races, a song written to celebrate me, Harry Clasper, world champion rower, and me prize racing achievements. I mean, don't get us wrong, like, I'm obviously proud that Geordie Ridley wrote the song for us, but between me and ye, I didn't think it would be very popular. Now then, prize races. Initially, they were ad hoc and sponsors would put up stake money. Yeah, aristocrats, local businessmen, and surprise, surprise, your MPs. Oh, aye. Where there was money, you would always find a politician. I doubt that's the same today, though, eh? Now, you see, in my day, pubs and gambling were a big part of everyday life. So most of the sponsors of the oarsmen were involved in the drinks trade, importers, music hall owners, pub landlords. So you can understand why aquatics was popular, not just with the rowers. I mean, men like to bet.
These working men will gamble on anything. Honestly, I cannot understand the attraction of grown men cockfighting.
I'm talking about rowing, man, Beatrice, man. Now, from 1800 to 1830, rowing clubs shot up all over England. All the major rivers had them. These were mainly amateur, like gentlemen's social clubs for fine dining and leisure. Aye, you see, the high fees kept all the riff-raff out. Aye, but in 1830, city regattas were established to great public excitement, and in 1834, the Tyne and Durham regattas were founded. The Corporation of Newcastle would like to see our local crews take part. Well, both banks of the Tyne were crammed with spectators, but on the water, where there was no rules and no order, aye, boats of all shapes and sizes would follow the racing sculls. Aye, you'd have to dodge the keels, the barges, the wherries, and the water-churning steamboats, which meant you were rowing against their wake. And if you did manage to avoid the wash from a tug, well, you might crash into a collier, a working boat. Well, the insults from the lads were, let's say, industrial. Aye. Well, most racers would finish with 6 inches of the Tyne inside their boat. Oh, aye, and that's if you were lucky. I mean, many a competitor would capsize, sometimes due to a drunken helmsman. But boats carrying spectators would sometimes crash into each other, hauling the passengers overboard. Health and safety? What's that? Get away, man. And, as a rower, getting stones hurled at you from a bridge was a common occurrence. Then there were the trees and bushes ripped asunder, making their way on the current to the North Sea. Not to mention drowned sheep, cows, horses, many a bloated human corpse, and trying to avoid all of these when the fog rolled in. And then, when one of your oars got snapped, well, let's just say you're up the creek without a paddle. Hey, and they called this rowing for pleasure. Well, races took place all over the northeast, on the Tyne, from the Tyne Bar to Hexham, the Wear, Blythe, Tarkentorn, the River Derwent. I mean, at one time, There was 20 racing clubs on the Tyne alone, all rowing competitively. Now, in contrast,
the Henley Royal Regatta, first held in 1839, presented the genteel amateur life of the upper middle classes at leisure.
Aye. Well, you see, for us working class lads, the professional game with so much at stake was hard and competitive. It was so bloody hard that severe injury, even death, occurred, especially at that final sprint at the end of a race. The last 400 yards when your muscles are screaming and your energy's gone and you're digging into unknown reserves, just praying for that finishing bell to come. Well, professional oarsmen came from the rivermen who ferried passengers and the keelmen who transported goods. Why, man, to start with, there was no such thing as racing craft. They were just working boats. They were big, heavy, slow, tried and tested over centuries, and a real bugger to row. Well, professionally, the Thames Rivermen reigned supreme, undisputed national champions. But us Tyne lads, well, we had them in our sights. Hey, but I'm rushing way ahead here, man. Let's start at the very beginning, eh? It's a very good place to start, apparently. 1812, the Napoleonic Wars were raging, and the people from Hartlepool, the hunger monkey, thinking it was a French spy. Well, if something's hairy and it's got a tail, it's only logical to assume that it's French and hang it. Meanwhile, on the 5th of July in Dunstan, a small village 3 miles upstream of Newcastle, christened Henry, but known to everybody as Harry. I was the second eldest son, one of 6 laddies, one of 14 bairns. Oh, aye. Contraception hadn't been conceived in those days, And besides, you needed a big family to look out for each other. Well, 2 years later...
Reach, we're moving.
Where we're going, Da?
The end of the world, son.
What? Jesmond?
No, Jarrah.
God.
Hey, I loved it there, man. I mean, school held me attraction for us, like, but I was drawn to the river. I didn't care if the Tyne was called a cursed horse pond. I was fascinated by the everyday life on it. The beautiful sailing boats making their way up to Newcastle, their fully rigged masts flapping in the wind, carrying their various cargoes: tea, grain, sugar, hemp, flax, oil. Oi! Oi! What's the name of your boat?
Anna!
I will not ye now, but I want to know. Hey, I can't believe that one still gets a laugh, man. The old ones are the oldest, eh? But you see, this was the start of the Industrial Revolution, the era of the coaly Tyne, second only in river traffic volume to the Thames, a proper working river, where industry spewed various chemicals and pollutants, into which butchers chucked brains, entrails, the lot, and raw human sewage flowed. Oh, I wouldn't want to swim in it, I tell you. But sometimes you might get pushed in.
Get them bands of the water. Need plunging war, Harry.
There, what's that? Oh, get away from us, man. Now, in 1927, aged 14, I started doing Jarrah Pit with me father. Now, it was £1 a week, and most of that went into the family pot. Now, Jarrah Pit was notorious for methane, combustible poisonous gas, better known as fire damp. Well, after 2 weeks... When I decided that mining didn't suit us, I left just before another explosion took 50 lives. You see, human life came cheap. to the coal owners. Now, soon after, I was apprenticed at Brown's Boatyard, later Palmer's. Hey, I loved it there, man. Watching all the older lads like a hawk, go! And sometimes getting a clout to run the heat for getting things right. But you see, it was there that I learned so much about the basics of woodworking, the tools of the trade, and about the design and the construction of boats. Well, it was in Jarrah that I first started sculling. Well, one day, I was going to build my own boat. Well, by now, us Tynesiders were known as Geordies. Aye, now there's always been a bit of a dispute as to how the name came about. Aye, yes, some say it was due to our allegiance with King George II in the 1745 Jacobite uprising. Aye, but others say it's more likely because of George Stephenson. Ah, now George, or Geordie, was a pit worker from Wylam, up the Tyne in Northumberland. Now, he was illiterate until he was 18, but then in 1815, he invented the miner's lamp that us miners in Northumberland and Durham coalfields used down the pit. So pitmen got the nickname Geordies. And when, in 1826, Stephenson, who by now was known as the father of railways, was asked to go down to London and give evidence at a parliamentary commission, why they laughed at his accent. Why, man, here was one of the greatest minds of the day being ridiculed for the way that he talked. Aye, well, ye nah. Through their contemptuous sneers, these privileged snobs called the trimmers, the lads what shovelled all the coal, Geordie, and the nickname stuck. Way still, we were proud to have our own language, man. Divin drop your dottle on the proggy mat, hinny, or how are you, man? Divin and of course that wonderful greeting, are ya read, hinny? Oh, I am, man. Shut up, you two, man, will you? Look, whatever the origin, the 1830s, 40s, 50s, right up to the end of the century, saw a huge transformation in Newcastle itself. Wondrous architectural delights, Granger Town, the Theatre Royal, Central Station. I mean, we Geordies could now identify with a modern city, one of the greatest in the world. Now at the same time, inventions that were revolutionising the world and bringing society into the modern age, steam engines, electricity, hydraulics, were all being driven by northeast born and bred inventors, by Geordies. Well, the whole of Tyneside became synonymous with heavy industry and engineering, especially along the banks of the river that were crucial for transportation. But you see, my time at Brown's Boatyard only lasted a year. By 1829, my father, now at Hetton Colliery, couldn't afford to continue my apprenticeship and to feed the family, so I had to go back down the pit with him. Well, I suppose we're all know why Hetton is called Lahore. It's not what some of yous are thinking, nah. Cool. I mean, if you ask a Ben what it's for these days, they'll probably tell you it's for a barbecue. But this was the fuel that fired the Industrial Revolution. Coal back then was very profitable to the mine owners. You see, we were employed under the hated bond system, a kind of legalised serfdom whereby you signed up to a specific colliery in the April and then were forced to work there for a whole year. Why, my working conditions were dangerous, and pit disasters claiming dozens, hundreds of lives even, were commonplace. Why, man, to the bosses, the pit ponies were more valuable, and they were better looked after. But you see, attempting to unionise meant instant dismissal and blacklisting. But then, in April 1831, we refused to be bound like slaves, and the miners in Northumberland and Durham coalfields went on strike to smash the bond system. Alut! The Great Strike, we called it. I was 18-year-old, when one of the concessions we wanted, man, was a reduction in working hours for young lads working underground from 18 down to just 12 hours a day. God. Well, after 7 weeks, we were victorious! And then a year later, the bosses came back for revenge and starved the lads into submission. But you see, that sense of unity was to form the backbone of the emerging working class. Now, I managed to get out of the pit after the Great Strike of 31 when my family moved back to Dunstan. Just turned 19, I was employed as a coke burner and wherryman at the Garesfield Coke Company at nearby Derwentloff. Well, as a coke burner, I shovelled coal into the ovens, and as a wherryman, I rowed, transporting goods. Both good practices for building the upper body strength needed for racing. Now, the 1830s saw the emergence of professional rowers. Oh man, I mean, that was just a dream for us claspers. So together with me two brothers, William and Robert, we practised on the Derwentloff, a tributary of the Tyne. Now, our four comprised of me at stroke. Now, the stroke is like the team captain, the one who sets the stroke rate, rhythm and length, and decides when to hit the speed button. A stroke needs to understand the boat and know what the other lads have got left in them. You see, a team will always break at its weakest link. Now, behind me, it was our William, John Thompson, and Robert Dinnan, all rowers. Now, our Robert was the coxswain. Now, the coxswain doesn't row, the coxswain sits in front of the stroke and steers. He's also got a gob on him. He barks out all the orders. Well, he would say he imparts vital instructions. Now, we used to wear trousers, the arse made of wear-resistant leather covered in grease to help protect you from friction on the seat. Still, boils on the bum were a common occurrence. We'd get blistered hands. I mean, we'd put the hands in cold water, but if the bleb burst and got infected, ugh. And a bad back was always common. Ruptured discs were always a threat. In the winter, you bloody froze. And in the summer, well, there was heat exhaustion and sunburn. Oh, aye, there was no sun cream in those days, you know. Thankfully, alcohol helped take the pain away. Rubbing it on, like, not drinking it. And vinegar did the job nicely. Thankfully, calamine lotion soon came on the market. Made you smell less like fish and chips. Did I say this was enjoyable? Nah, man, it was. It was. The Derwentloff crew, they called us. Beaten all-comers, us claspers quickly became champions of the time. Now, I left the Garesfield Coke Company in 1832 when I got a start at Hawkes Crochet and Sons Ironworks. It's on the site of what's now Gateshead Stadium. And it was there that I met the boss's daughter.
Hello, I'm Susanna Hawkes.
I'm Harry.
I know, we're cousins.
We shared two grandparents. Her side of the family had some money. Ours a bit of rough. Now, in 1836, we married at All Saints Church in Newcastle. She was 19, me 24. And some of you are thinking, what? He married his cousin? But it was popular then, man. Wait, Queen Victoria did it, and Charles Darwin, and Billy Stevens doing it number 87. Oh no, wait, that was his sister. Moving on. Now, my wedding certificate will show you that I had to sign it with a cross. Hey, so what, man? I was good at other things. Our firstborn John came along in November that year. Wait, it was only 3 months after we tied the knot. But what can I say? I've always been a man built for speed. Our John once asked us,
was I conceived in wedlock, Dad?
No, son, in Dunstan. Well, in 1837, an 18-year-old Victoria became queen, and I was set to take on 4 amateur scullers in a singles event at the Durham Regatta. Well, That was the plan, anyway. They drew lots. Actually drew lots, you know, to see who was going to take me out of the race and sacrifice their own chances. Well, this one bloke gets the job and comes for us. Well, our oars get tangled. I realise if I dip a dig out, then I'm going to sink. So I try to pull him out of his boat. Then I try to push him away, but I think I'm likely to capsize. So in the end, I, bang, dunch him. And just as I'm about to bring an oar down on his heel, when I realise that my own boat's sinking, so I have to jump out and swim ashore. Well, the crowd bloody loved it. And then later that day, when my fours team was on its way to the start line, some of the buggers started hurling rocks at her, forcing her to withdraw. Oh, aye, it was a canny day out in Durham, that, I tell you. Hey, but we had a fantastic boatman. The St. Agnes, she was called. Now, I never built the St. Agnes, but in it, the Derwent-off crew were unbeatable. We were the fastest in the north. Now, the rowing season went from the first Monday in April to the last Monday in October, and 50 to 100,000 people turned out to watch the races. Oh, aye, rowers were the footballers of their time, minus the dodgy haircuts and that. October 1838, bairn number 2, Ward Jane, was born. That's 2 bairns and counting. But you see, industrialisation brought with it unemployment. And by 1839, in Newcastle alone, with its population of just 54,000, there were 3,500 men and families out of work. As Charles Dickens would later say, hard times. You're not Charles Dickens. He was a Cockney.
I know. I'm acting, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Well, you see, for many, watching a race on the banks of the river on an evening was a form of relaxation. And crucially, it was free entertainment, especially in the summertime.
Ah, yes. You see, the poor simply wanted something to believe in. Something to cheer up their wretched existences.
Aye. Well, in 1841, Susanna and me took over our first pub, the Skiff Inn at Derwent-off on the Tyne. Now, it was the first of 10 pubs that we would run over the next 29 years. And we stayed there for 8 years. Why, man, it was ideal. It was a place where we could combine the licensed trade with a boat building business. Now, the first boat that I built was a skiff, small craft, 2 oars, called Hawk. September 1841, bairn number 3, War Anne, was born. Keep counting. Now, a year later came young Hawk. Now, that's not another bairn, that's another skiff that I built, that in 1842 won the single scullers race at the Durham Regatta. Oh, aye. I managed to avoid the mad oarsmen and the stone throwers that year. Now, another highlight of that year was winning the Tyne Regatta, when 10,000 people lined the sands of North and South Shields to cheer on the racers. But by now, our racing team was all Clasper, 5 brothers, 4 rowers. Alongside me, there was William, Robert and Edward. Our Richard was the coxswain. Now, at the same time, I started building a new boat called the 5 Brothers. It was to be thinner, lighter, and faster. Well, by now, every river had its champions. Professional crews who would take on challengers. And on the Tyne, well, it was us, the Clasper Brothers. We will take on any crew from anywhere at any time. But what we really wanted was to take on the national and undisputed champions, the Thamesmen, led by Thames champion, Robert Coombs. It was time somebody knocked this lot off their perch. Ha! Are you serious? I am, and divin looking as like that, man.
Do you speak English?
Well, I would have knocked his block off if I wasn't 5'8" and him 6 foot. I do, aye. and it's game on, bonny lad. Well, put your money where your mouth is, Jody boy. Now, challenge money is put up a bit like prize money in boxing. First, a venue, date, and time is agreed on. 16th of July, 1842. We'll even camp in Newcastle. Then, a purse is agreed on and sponsors found. Now, sponsors put their money in, and after paying the crew a small percentage and expenses, well, they take in their winnings, or they lose all their money. Ha! Easy money! Oh, you think so, do you? You'll be coming to the time for a ducking, bonny lad. Hey, we'll show these soft southerners who the kings of this river are, eh? Oh yes! Oh yes! The race between the Tyne crew and the London Thamesmen will take place from Newcastle Bridge, now the site of the High Level Bridge, to the Scotswood Suspension Bridge in Leamington, now the Scotswood Bridge, the one you can hour sometimes if you're going to the Metro Centre, for a purse of £150 a side. That's around 15 grand in a day's money. Oh yes! Oh yes! God save the Queen. Hey man, the Thamesman, the real Thamesman. Hey, I thought about using my new boat, the Five Brothers. What? The Five Brothers? Well, it's our flimsy man. Why no, it's not. It'll bloody sink. Why no, it won't. It'll get blown away in the wind, man. It's not manly enough. The St. Agnes or the Five Brothers? St. Agnes or Five Brothers? The St. Agnes is tried and tested, bonny lad. Ye just stick with that, son, eh? The St. Agnes or the Five Brothers? Come on, man, Harry, you want to win, don't you? Which one? Which one? Bollocks. The St. Agnes.
It's Sunday, July the 16th, 1842. Bells ring out to proclaim the match, and it looks like the whole of Tyneside has turned out to cheer on their team, led by Harry Clasper. Excuse me, sir, what does this race mean to you?
These Londoners take war coal for the big hooses.
And you, madam?
Hadaway in sight.
Unfamiliar faces convulse the town, all with Geordie pride. The blast of the furnace is unheard, and the sound of the forge has died. Counting houses, academic seats, them with money to spend, have shut their desks and closed their doors. All social classes attend. When Newcastle Bridge is full to busting, will it take the weight? Steamers sailing on the Tyne groan under their living freight. Cab wheels rattle on the granite roads and narrow lanes cram with people. A human throng on each bank of the Tyne. Hey man, they've even climbed All Saints steeple. A deafening cheer greets the first dip of the oars.
Hadaway, Harry.
I mean, the lads gave it their all, but it was pretty clear early on that we were just no match for the Thamesmen.
The Londoners were soon in the lead and pulled away to gain an easy victory.
Upstarts!
We rode out the remaining 4 miles deflated. The words arses and kicked came to mind. But you see, I'd let down not just Tyneside, but the whole of the northeast. My people, they dreamed through me. Ha. Hello, pet. Now I'm just thinking, trying to get my head straight, you know? turn. Back to basics. It's taken me 10 years to get here, man. Aye, well, it's all very well saying come back stronger, but it's not that easy, is it? Well, aye. You know that I want to be world champion. Well, that was it. That was bloody well it. You see, we weren't beaten by the rowing. We were beaten by the boat, by the design and the construction of the St. Agnes. You see, I had studied the London boat. Theirs, we had £160. Ours, we had 256. Well, every extra pound was an additional burden on the muscles of the lads, and we were giving them £96, man. Well, I looked at the 5 brothers again, and I was sure that it could revolutionise racing craft. But you see, I didn't just want to copy the London boat. Oh no, I wanted to improve it. So, once the pub was shut and the beds were asleep, with Susanna's help, well, we worked late evenings on it. Well, not only did Susanna teach us how to read and write, she was a dab hand with a tape measure and all. And for the next 6 months, we hammered out designs and models to improve the 5 brothers. Right, faster boats need to be lighter and they need to be thinner. So what if we put the keel inside the hull with a single plank down each side to reduce friction. And then we could varnish the hull to cut even more drag. Hey, but that's not all. Right, what if we used outriggers as a frame for the rowlock? Now the rowlock is the socket that the oar slots into. Now not only did these outriggers help to hold the oar in place, it also allowed the rower to pull a longer stroke. And more pull meant more speed. It also gave the crew better control of the craft. Why, man, it was a bloody revolution in boat design. I mean, when we unveiled the 5 brothers in 1843, there was a gasp. Wait, how are you supposed to gasp, man? Let's try that again, shall we? I said, when we unveiled the 5 brothers in 1843, there was a gasp. Better! Hey! It's like a floating toothpick, isn't it? Hey, and is that a scooped oar? Aye. Now that was another progression. You see, we'd used a straight oar against the Thamesmen, but they had used a scooped oar, which gave them an advantage. We also developed what became known as the tyne stroke, sliding on a fixed seat, using your legs for the very first time to create a longer, more powerful stroke. I'll accept our Edward, of course, who had one wooden leg which he took off when he got in the boat. Right. I used to kid him on that the only reason he was included was because he made the boat lighter. Well, that season, in the 5 brothers, us claspers were unbeatable on the time. It was time to take on the Cockneys again. June 1844, the Royal Thames Regatta. Hang on, we had to get there first, man, by sailing boat for London. Well, get yourself down the Tyne, past Jarrah Slats to South Shields. Then take a left. Oh no, take a right. Definitely take a right. Going down past Marsden Grotto, Sunderland, Hartlepool, mind you didn't talk French there, mind. And straight on for 2 days. Well, the 5 brothers was in the hold, and we kept a close eye on it throughout. You see, with so much at stake, it wasn't unusual to find that little holes had been drilled into the side of your boat. Oh, have you ever heard of the term skullduggery? Hey! Knees up, Mother Brown! Knees up, Mother Brown! So this was London. Hey, I've heard of an author from here. What the dickens was his name again? Oh. Now the Thamesmen, hearing about our advances, had trimmed down their own boats and all. And although the Five Brothers was much lighter than the St Agnes, it was still about 20% heavier than those being raced on the Thames. Still, this lot, well, they'd seen nowt like it.
Oi! You'll never be able to row her steady. She's shaped like a gun barrel. And what's that? Outriggers like that? Stupid Geordies!
Let them laugh, lads. Let them laugh. It's easier to race against a crew who you didn't like.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1844 Royal Thames Regatta.
Well, we won the £50 prize in the heats easily enough, and the Cockneys were not laughing anymore.
The Newcastle men had a stroke peculiar to themselves. Their extraordinary boat and beautiful rowing has rendered them object of considerable interest.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the final of the Champion Fours for a prize of £100 and the title Champions of the World.
Howie, Harry! Hadaway, Harry! Hadaway, lads! Get on, son! Howie, Harry, man!
It wasn't to be our year, though. The Five Brothers suffered a broken pin on only its second stroke. So Coombs lot won easily. Now, another factor was our Richard's inexperience on the Thames, not knowing the fastest water and giving up ground to the other boats. Well, as for coxswain, he had caused a navigational error. Why, man, he was inconsolable. How? How, man? Didn't worry about it, bonny lad. Why, the boat's new, man. It had steering trouble. But was it the boat? Or was it us? Next year, Richard. This time next year, we're gonna be champions of the world. Please.
in all the lads shake hands with the Carl and Jimmy Green, and he felt he tried to spoil all with them both. I had to have Daniel them heavy, and I blacked the big fool's eyes, and man slept with time to tell the time and goes. If your feet still jolly penny, let's be happy, both and eat, 'cause for me, let me say happy, both and me. Guess that bit of comfort, keep the feet still jolly lad, and never try me body to reach to me. No one thought I said I am that content for Wonderland, and I've kissed our lips 100 times up there. And I wish the river never end, see happy life was I could have walked 1,000 miles from where we then. Keep your feet still jolly penny, let's be happy, both and eat, 'cause I made us may say happy to me. Oh, guess that bit of comfort, keep your feet still jolly lad, and never try me body to be to me. No one dreamt your green had left the two, left his love to me, and I thought the goose was polished with a best. And I dreamt that I'd just left the church with Mary by me side, when your clumsy feet come to disappoint the rest. Keep your feet still jolly penny, let's be happy, go the knee, 'cause I may not be say happy, go the knee. Oh, kiss that bit of comfort, keep your feet still jolly lad, and never drive me funny dreams away.
I don't think anybody sits there. There's a bunch of people that way.
Now come here, me little Jackie. Now I'll smoke me backy, let's have some brandy till the board comes in. And you shall have a fishy on a little dishy. You shall have a fishy when the board comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. You shall have a fishy on a little dishy. You shall have a fishy when the board comes in. Here's your mother tune, like a canny woman, yonder comes your father drum, you can't stand. And you shall have the fishy on a little dishy, you shall have the fishy when the board comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. You shall have the fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a honey when the board comes in. Coming home from a piece of fun day, you were kind to me, and you shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a fishy when the board's going down. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. You shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a honey when the board's going down. When I can get it sly, you do me money man, like the time. You shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a fishy when the board goes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. You shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a board when the board goes in. Now we will get low, not to stand the scene, we'll let you hear me, ring the bell. And you shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a fishy when the board comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. You shall have a fishy on a little dishy, you shall have a fishy when the board goes
After the disappointment of not being able to contend in the Champions Prize, the committee got up a purse of £40 to be rowed by the Clasper crew against the Coombs crew. It was all to all, but then the time men drew away and won in 8.5 minutes, a time usually recorded by an 8-oared boat. They were magnificent. The cheering was deafening. With the pure good voice.
Come on, lads! We arrived! I mean, it might have been unofficial, but the time men had bloody well arrived. And a month later, or so had been before our Elizabeth. Now, I won another 5 races in Newcastle and London that year, but what I really wanted was to take on Thames champion Robert Coombs one-on-one. From Newcastle Bridge to Scotswood Suspension Bridge, 5 miles or thereabouts. Well, it was the race that Isle of Tyneside wanted to see. The champions of the Tyne and the Thames competing. Why, man, I couldn't get from one end of the street to the other.
Good luck,
race. His weighed 143 pounds, mine 149. A difference of 6 pounds. December 18th, race day.
All vantage points are taken as tens of thousands defy the freezing cold and turn out for this race. People are betting on the outcome. The noise is unbearable.
Hadaway cross!
And they're off. Matching stroke for stroke.
Away, hurry, man! Come on, lad!
Well, I had him in my peripheral vision, but from the off, he kept coming out to us. Oh, steer straight, man, will you? Steer bloody straight. Get up me way, man. Get up me bloody way. I moved inside. He cut inside, forcing me out wider. I went wider still, but he followed us. Oh, get up me bloody way, man, will you? And then, tragedy struck, didn't it? A keelboard hit us. Bang! Oh! Well, the oar gets lost from the grip. Well, by the time I've got it back, well, he's 4 lengths up. Momentum gone. Getting the boat back up to speed is well nigh impossible. And that's when the crowd, 100,000 people, gone quiet, and an eerie silence descends. And you can sense their intense disappointment. And the moment that you think you've lost, you have. Pride punctured. My eyes well up. Every worthless stroke to the finish line is grudgingly rowed. And Clasper trails in by 6 boat lengths. That's the defining moment. You either give up there and then, or you're determined that you will never feel that humiliation ever again.
Oi, Geordie! They're saying I made you collide with a keelboat.
Now, Robert, you beat us fair and square.
Good. Oi, you fancy a rematch next week?
Oh, aye, definitely.
Ha! In your dreams. Happy New Year, Geordie boy.
Aye. Happy New Year to ye and all, Robert. January 1845, and our eyes were on the championship of the world, the Royal Thames Regatta in June, and the Clasper brothers' names were going to be on that cup. Right then, lads, if we want to be champions, we need to start training like champions. Rule number 1, never underestimate your opponents. The training regime will be as follows. 6:30 a.m, out of bed. 6:45 a.m, a gentle walk for 5 miles, wearing a heavy overcoat. 8 a.m, breakfast, a mutton chop and 2 fresh eggs, washed down with a nice cup of tea. Never coffee. 9 a.m, a smart run, wearing a heavy overcoat. 10 a.m, into the boat for a morning rub. 11 a.m, rest. Midday, dinner time. Beef or mutton broiled on the gridiron, followed by a light egg pudding. 1 glass of ale, 1 glass of port wine, or 2 glasses of ale without the wine. 1 p.m, back into the boat for a hard rub. 3 p.m, wearing an excess of clothing put into bed to sweat. 4 p.m, undressed to be rubbed down and left to cool down. 5 p.m, meal number 3 of the day, tea and toast sparingly buttered with 1 fresh egg. Any more than that clogs the system. Then rest. 9 p.m, if you want supper, it'll be new milk and bread or gruel with currants and raisins and a mean 1 glass of port wine. 10 p.m, bed. Any problems? Good. Any questions? Yes, Edward? No, we can't go to the pub. Now get on, get yourselves away. I'll see you in the morning. And don't forget to grease your arses. You see, prize racing, it's not just a sport, it's a way of life. And for the next 6 months, we entered a liquid world. A world where your stinking training gear is never dry. Sweat-drenched shoes, trousers, jumpers, coats, hats, gloves. A world of frosted breath, where ice collects on your hair and on your shoulders, and the winter wind and snow penetrate your every pore, freezing you to the marrow despite your exertions. A world of white, wrinkled, numb hands, arms numb to the elbows, feet cracking with pain. That's the sound of somebody freezing cold taking a hot bath. Shut up, Edward! A world where your mornings are in moonlight and you finish training in the dark. A world where you miss birthdays and wedding anniversaries and an understanding better half is essential. We trained hard for 6 months. A team, 4 rowers as one. Endless hours, all day, every day and weekend in all weathers, clocking up thousands upon thousands of miles in the boat, understanding its surge and flow and defining improvements, small, incremental, but vital improvements, and always setting ourselves new goals. A team, 4 rowers as one. But we needed a new boat. We got the Lord Ravensworth, fitted with V-shaped outriggers. She was thinner, she was lighter, and she was faster. If I do say so myself, she was the finest boat that I had ever built. Yes! We were going to be world champions! April the 1st, 1845. What? Nah. Nah, please, no, it can't be. Please, no, why?
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Edward. He was me little brother. Me mirror, me crewmate. I mean, he was only 25 years old. Ah, look, I've told the lads will not be going into London this year. Aye, well, even if I was in the right frame of mind, man, how am I going to replace Edward, eh? What? Uncle Ned? What? That beer on your apron's gone to your heat, man, woman, man. Are you serious? Well, aye, Ned might have been a canny rower in his time, but he's old, man. He's 42. Well, I mean, the average age of death for 37 for men and 36 for women at this time. So, I mean, this was old. I mean, you can understand why the marriage vows will till death do us part back then. Where was I again? Oh, aye, Uncle Ned. Well, I finally found him, doing push-ups on one hand. Read? Aye, the old un's in. Now this time, we travelled to London by steam train. Now, we'd heard tales of sparks from the engines setting fire to boats strapped to the roofs, so we kept an eye on the Lord Ravensworth throughout in the guard's van. Any time you're Lambeth way, any evening, any day, you'll find us all doing the Lambeth walk. Aye! Well, this time, we weren't in awe of London. In fact, the people there were in awe of us. Hello, Geordie! Alright? Oh! And not just us neither, but the Lord Ravensworth and all. Oi! Nae touching. Well, would you Adam and Eve it?
And please, a warm Henley Regatta welcome for the Tyne crew, led by Mr. Harry Clasper.
Well, we got through the 2 heats easily enough. And now we were in the final. Against 2 London crews. One led by Bob Newell and the other by my old adversary, Robert Coombs. Right, lads, this is it, the championship of the world. Cast your minds back to January, those cold, dark days when all of this seemed like it was just a dream. This is what you put the sacrifice in for. And remember, they've got the home crowd, so they'll keep coming back at them. Right then, are you ready? Good. Get yourself to the netty first,
Thames presented a scene of gaiety, unprecedented as to excite universal admiration. Myriads of persons, both on water and on shore, awaited with feverish impatience all along the 2.5 miles from the start at Putney Bridge to the finish at Chiswick Island.
Well, the noise was deafening.
Would the London watermen retain their well-earned laurels as champions of the world, or yield them to the gallant and enterprising men of the time?
Hadaway, Harry. Hadaway, lads!
All the Geordies in London had come down en masse from the docks to cheer her on.
Get on, son!
We knew exactly why we were there.
Start lining up, gentlemen, please.
Well, the clear, unpolluted water of Henley contrasted starkly to the brown, smelly sludge of the Tyne. The beautiful Tyne. I mean, she might have been Dawdy, but she was ours, and we were gonna do her proud. Now we had been drawn in the middle, with Coombs on the advantageous inside. We'd have to cut them off before the all-important Surrey bend. You see, the leader there generally wins. But my heart's pounding. I'm sure the Coombs crew can hear it even above the din. They share a joke. Is that confidence or bravado? I look behind us for reassurance. There's Ward William, Robert, and old Uncle Ned. They smile back sheepishly and grasp their oars. Richard, crouched like a jockey at the front, is a picture of concentration. Will he navigate us successfully this time? And now that the experience of last year still haunts him, he catches me eye, pats us on the shoulder and smiles, and I grab his leg in acknowledgement, and the adrenaline surges, and I get a boost of much needed confidence. Putney Bridge just behind me is crammed with spectators all cheering and waving. I want to see it right, lads. Remember, we'll run our own race, controlled and disciplined. Hey, but there's no point. It's too late for a team talk. You see, we're in our start positions now. Legs and arms bent, hands grasping the oar, straight back, ready to go. Just 8.5 minutes away from the dream.
Are you ready?
For Edward!
Attention!
Oi! Coombs crew pull away early. They're off. The crowd erupts. Richard bellows. Oh! The first stroke. The all-important first stroke. Give and rip it, lads. Knee ripping. Just take up the pressure and press land. Go! I squeeze me blade into the water and every moment feels like an eternity. But the boat moves and it's smooth. It's a good start. You see, a race can be won or lost in that first minute. The initial sprint. Everyone must be in it together. We'll kick in at 50 strokes a minute and the pain soon builds. We're taking short, deep breaths. Coombs' boat comes to our side in search of faster water. We need to hold the main line of the stream. You see, the middle is where the water is deepest and the current fastest. Richard steers us straight. He's not given an inch this time. All three boats are together, matching stroke for stroke. Rhythm, hold, cool. After 400 yards, I drop the rate of striking to 45 and we're into a race rhythm, gliding further between strokes. You see, it's a marginally more sustainable pace, preserving vital energy for when it's needed. The steamers moored at Putney Embankment fly by, and we soon leave the euphoria of Putney Bridge behind. Stroke for stroke, all three boats are in tandem. The crowd cheers, but their detail becomes less defined as sweat fills me eyes, and only their noise can be heard above the sound of the oars as they dip into the rough water stretch as we pass Fulham on the left-hand side and head towards Hammersmith. The summer breeze blows against the oncoming flow of the tide, and water from the blade sprays across one, but the rhythm feels good.
Half a mile gone and Coombs' crew are beginning to inch ahead.
Well, just past the Craven Cottage, Coombs takes the lead. It's only half a length, but if they break away now, they'll be hard to catch, especially if they get the inside of Surrey Bend. Hey, but that's half a mile away, and we're all to all with Newell. Their boat comes our close. Oh man, bugger off, will ya? Richard steers us straight. Again, he's not given an inch this time. I call on the lads. Up strokes! And we lift from an already painful rhythm to an even faster one. But it works. We're soon a seat up on Newell, and that quickly becomes 3/4 of a length. Whew. 200 yards, we ease off again. Coombs is nearby, just up ahead. I can hear their cocks screaming for more effort. I call on 10 big strokes. In 2, in 1, 10 full. Yeah! The surge of power is unbelievable as all 4 of us commit to the full strength. We'll take off. I can sense Ned's frame shaking at the full force that he's sending down. Whew! We ease off again. I mean, we still tail Coombs by half a length. Whew! But Newell has fallen even further back. That's how we go. Coombs is just ahead, and they now are there. They can hear what. Let them feel the heat, eh? The Crabtree pub is coming up on the left, and we're just over halfway. Richard shouts,
"Come on, big pussy Crabtree!"
And the men of the Thames are edging the time then.
In 2, in 1, 20! Whoa! 20 power strokes. And now we're pressing Coombs. I catch him out the corner of my eye. Whew. He's digging deep now. We share a glance, and in that moment, he's me enemy, and I detest him.
And the Tyne team are level with Coombs.
Another 200 yards, and I call on the lads again. In 2, in 1, 20 more. Yeah! Another power surge, and now we're edging ahead. But all the time, I'm wondering how much they've got left. I mean, no doubt they'll have been training through the long winter months for this, and never underestimate your opponents. You see, we probably could have overtaken them then, but we're just under a mile to go. Well, it was too early to make for home, and I wanted to make sure I had enough left in the tank for the final burst.
In response, the Coombs crew up their stroke.
Ah, bugger!
Both boats fly under Hammersmith suspension bridge. 12,000 people on the edifice are cheering and stomping as the rowers pass below.
Surrey Bend is up ahead. The all-important Surrey Bend. 10! 10 big strokes through the bridge and out into the wide expanse of the Thames. There's dozens of boats on either side, all crammed with spectators. A deafening roar erupts as the crowd get their first view of one emerging from under the bridge. I call on another 10! Yeah! And now we're edging ahead of Coombs. It's only inches per stroke, but it's enough. We quickly move to half a length ahead, and that soon becomes a full length, and now we can see them behind us in full view. Whew, I can see they're all splashing in the water, their cocks urging for more effort. Well, Newell's fallen even further back. It's between us and Coombs now. 200 yards to the long meandering Surrey Bend and the 2-mile marker, and we're a length up on Coombs. I mean, 6 minutes in, most races are decided by now. How much do you want this, Harry? How much? Never underestimate your opponents. Richard sees the Surrey Bend and shouts,
"Defend the bend, lads! Defend the bend!"
You see, it's worth a length at least if we can make them work harder on the outside. I call on another 20! Yeah! Richard is animated, screaming out instructions.
Pull! Legs! Legs! Sit up! Sit up! Pull! Pull!
The beautiful lads respond with 20 of the biggest strokes of their lives. I mean, the feeling is indescribable. I get tingles down my spine. Hey, but it only serves to encourage Coombs, who's now creeping up on the inside. Well, Richard steers the rudder, cutting into them, forcing them off their line. I look up at him and he winks at us. The naughty bastard. He imparts more instructions.
Spring off! Spring off!
I call on another 10! And the lads respond again. We're still that all-important length ahead. Richard steers with the inside of the bend, but he wants more from us.
Move it!
I call on another 10! And the lads respond again. Hey man, it feels as if the boat sprouted wings. It's magnificent. It's truly magnificent. And we've got the inside. We've got the Surrey side. You beauty, Richard. We'll force Coombs to the outside, and they'll lose valuable ground and energy. We'll lean even more weight into the oars and push down even harder with our legs. We're keeping it tight on the bend. They're straining to keep up with us. We'll concede no ground, but every time I push my legs down harder, the pain increases and my arms ache even more. But we're still holding the bend. St. Paul's School is on the right. We're 2.5 lengths up, and we hold them here, and we've won. Robert, pumping away behind, knows this, and he lets out a scream of encouragement, and we're sent down even harder strokes. And we're out of the bend. It's rough water, but we're straight again. Richard nods. He can see the green island of Chiswick Eyes up ahead. 600 yards to go. Just 600 yards to the finish line. But never, ever underestimate your opponents. You see, this is what chance to move even further ahead. We'll plan to break them here. I look up to Richard and nod. He screams, Edward! Oh, it's the final signal. 4 voices echoing, Edward! 20 huge power strokes. I'm counting them down in my head. 17, 16, 15. I know the other lads will be in our 4 pistons working hard to increase the speed. Boat and crew as one. Perfect harmony. Surging between strokes. This is what it's all about.
And the time crew have increased their lead to 2.5 lengths.
Whatever Coombs has got left, they have to throw it at one now. Their final attempt, it has to be. I mean, we've got them on the ropes. You're hoping that they've got nothing, that they'll crumble, that they can't possibly keep up with what. Hey man, but they push on again, moving slowly but steadily back on with 10! Yeah! We try to push them back, but they just keep coming. I can hear screams, ear splitting, cheers and boos rise from the bank. Like they're gaining on me, I think. They must be gaining on me. But our pace isn't slacking though. I mean, the lads are pulling their hearts out. Stroke after stroke after stroke. 4 brothers and old Uncle Ned willing to do anything for this race. Hey man, I've never been so proud of the lads. The rowing is powerful, smooth, flowing, hypnotic. 4 as 1. Sweat drips and stings, blurring vision. Hey, but now Coombs' bow is level with our stern, and we're back to only 1 length up. I'm going to have to move the stroke rate up again, but I worry if the lads are going to come with us this time. 10! I hear 3 Hadaway lads in different groans behind us. Ned's is the weakest, but the lads are coming with us, and our Uncle Ned is hanging in there. Divin falter, Ned. Divin falter. Hey, and my heart lifts with every stroke. We're inch further and further ahead. Our big moves are working. Hey, it's beautiful. We can do this, Richard. We can do it. He gets animated and points.
Chiswick Eyes! Hurry! Chiswick Eyes! Whoever!
150 yards. I summon up every ounce of energy I've got left. Go! It's the final sprint, and we're back up to 50 strokes. Just 200 yards. Hey mate, but now I can taste acid in my mouth. It feels like my lungs are filling with blood. I mean, it feels as if I'm going to pass out. I'm searching for oxygen, arms pumping. I mean, It only takes one foot to break now, and it's game over. But we're all together, no one daring to let the sight down. Pain surges through my body. I'm searching for oxygen with short, deep breaths. Oh, my heart's pounding in my chest.
Hold on! 30 seconds!
I hear Richard screaming for more effort, demanding more from the lads, and we're tearing the water into lumps of foam. But my heart's beating at over 200 a minute. I mean, this is heart attack territory, really, but you can't take it easy or catch your breath. I mean, a boxer could go down at this stage, but there's nowhere to bloody hide in a boat. Stay together, lads!
30, 29, 28.
Richard's voice seems to float away, but we're all counting down in our heads. 27, 26. I mean, belief runs through the crew. We're all fighting our own inner battle for the greater good. 25, 24. But then I hear their cocks screaming for more effort, and it's getting louder and louder. Oh, more effort! More effort! Yeah! They must be gaining on me, I think. The rhythmic sound of their finishes. Hey, they're trying to finish what off. Yeah! There's silence, but we communicate without words, all putting in similar huge effort, and they don't seem to take any advantage. And soon, fewer calls come from the inside of their boat. They're deep in pain territory now.
Stay together!
Richard's voice calms with the rhythmic sound of their oars becomes less pronounced. Oh, they're tiring now, man. They have to be.
50 yards! Take it home! Lads! Up two!
Up two? You're bloody joking, aren't you? I'm already sending doing everything I've got. Behind us, I can hear Ned gasping in loud croaks. He's got nothing left in the tank. Only the burning desire not to let the sight down is taking him past breaking point. Hey, just hang in there, Ned. Just a little bit longer. Just hang in there. Yeah. Keep moving, lads. Dig deep. Dig deep. But now I'm too far gone. My legs are screaming no more. My lungs are begging for mercy. My head feels as if it's about to explode. The mind. It's all in the mind now. Will it be strong enough to keep going, or will it break? How much do you want this, Harry? How much? 18, 17, 16. But now I can no longer hear the crowd, and darkness is descending, and my whole body screams, "Stop!" And all of a sudden, the rowing feels out of sync, and the boat feels loose. I look back, and Ned's chin's dropped. His hands are by his side. He's slumped forward, motionless. I try to shout, "Ned!" Nothing comes. Well, Robert is aghast. William's lying back in his lap. Well, what happened? Why have we stopped racing? I tried to swallow, but I realised that my own senses have stopped working. Why? Why did we throw the race away so close to home? And then Richard leans forward and he kisses us on the forehead.
We won! Hurry! We won! We're champions of the world!
Well, I can see that he's been crying. Well, he always was a soft chap. Yeah. But tears well up in my eyes. And I cry like a little bairn, I cry. Tears of joy just float down my cheeks. And I summon every little bit of energy that I've got left to look behind us again. And there's one Ned, eyes rolled back in his head. His chest is heaving. He's trying to suck oxygen in through his gaping mouth. Robert's got his arm on the gunnel. He's ashen. He's white as a ghost. He tries to look at us, but his eyes are just vacant from fatigue. He tries to smile, but his bottom lip just trembles. I try to communicate, but nothing happens. And our William is now leant forward in the boat, being sick. Between retches, he groans. But he's alive. And knowing that the lads are safe, I slump forward for what seems like an eternity. It must have only been a few seconds. I try to piece together that last 50 yards of the race, but it's all just blank. And then, as my senses return, I start to notice people. I mean, the sheer number of them is overwhelming. There's hats being waved. Both banks have exploded. Those who aren't cheering and waving are pointing. Oh, lads! They're pointing at us.
And the winners by a length and a half, the Tyneside crew. 3 cheers! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
Well, those of you who aren't passing out or being sick manage a feeble. I look up to Richard. Oh! Shoot me if I ever can near a boat again, will you? He laughs. And then somebody puts a bottle of champagne in my hand. Oh, man. The liquid tastes wet and bloody wonderful. Hey, lads, if they could see we're back at home now, we'd be disowned. But that taste of victory is every little bit as sweet as I imagined it would be.
Sir Lancelot Chadwell, Vice-Chancellor of England, will make the presentation. Although the winners were tiny men, the London watermen did not find them tiny competitors.
He actually said that, you know. Called with tiny competitors. Even laughed at his own joke. They nicknamed us the Famous Five, long before Enid Blyton came along. Well, church bells rang out in Newcastle and Gateshead to greet my return. There was tens of thousands of people, huge crowds as far as the eye could see. There was flags and bunting everywhere. Even the guns at Hawks and Crochet were fired in salute. That'll be the sound of somebody falling out of a pub, no doubt. Well, away from road, me and the lads were celebrities. All sorts of memorabilia was created. Plates and cups, inkwells, lockets, postcards, even statues were created. We even had our portraits painted and our photographs taken. Were celebrated in the newspapers and in the music hall. Various songs were even written and performed in my honour, like this one by J.P. Robson. Oh, van you grand rowers, if skiff or if scull, well, there's none like oh Harry has chance for the pull. Well, he sits like a duke and he fetches so free. Harry's the lad, clasper for me. Hadaway, Harry, canny lad, Harry. Harry's the king of the Thames and the Tyne. Aye, well, I'm a royer now. I'm not a singer. Whoa. Well, in July that year, Harry celebrated his 33rd birthday at the Tyne Regatta, winning the fours and the singles. Now, Thomas Carroll, champion of the Mersey, challenged Harry to a race in Liverpool on the 29th of September 1845 for a prize of £200. Well, tens of thousands converged for the race. The Newcastle and Carlisle Railway Company even put on a special excursion train to take our people across to see it. Well, Harry won, obviously, by 300 yards plus. Carroll's excuse, well, I had boils on me bum, you know. In November that year, Harry beat William Pocock, Thames champion, in Newcastle for a prize of £100 a sight. Well, I suppose most historians would say that 1845 marked the epitome, Harry's peak as an oarsman, a boat designer and builder, and as a coach. And I suppose they wouldn't be far wrong. You see, After winning the World Championship in 1845, Harry's boat design was taken up nationally and it became the norm for racing boats. And it still is today. Now for the next 25 years, Geordies ensured that Tyneside was at the centre of the aquatics universe. I mean, Charles Dickens even wrote that the stranger to London aquatics who wishes to see the river at its best should take in one of the championship races between the professional oarsmen, especially if Newcastle and London are pitted against one another. Well, by now, the Industrial Revolution was in full swing, and although some lived in luxury, acute poverty meant that TB, congestion of the lungs, was rampant. A third of all deaths were down to this heinous disease. Now, between 1846 and 1859, whilst retaining his World Championship a further 7 times, Harry had 7 more beds. Interesting little bit of correlation there, don't you think? Well, by 1859, Harry had been part of a World Championship winning team 8 times in 14 years. Now, I suppose some might ask, what was the biggest regret of Harry's racing career? And he probably would have said, never winning the individual sculling World Championship. You see, the truth was that Harry just never felt good enough to take on the Thamesmen alone. His last individual sculling race was in 1859, aged 47. And after that, he preferred racing in pairs or fours or coaching. Now, Robert Chambers was one of Harry's charges, and in 1859, Chambers became the first-time oarsman to win the individual sculling World Championship. A championship he held from 1859 to 1863. Dorothy came along in February 1860, making it 12. 12 beds. Well, by the year's end, Harry had clocked up 130 major race victories in all categories. A record. He had no more beds. But then, at Bambra's Music Hall on the 5th of June 1862, the Bladen Races was heard for the very first time. It was written for Harry's testimonial. Huge donations were received from all across the UK and Australia, and Harry received the keys to 1 Armstrong Street, a public house henceforth to be called the Clasper Hotel. Posh it was, in Cruddas Park. Well, I mean, Cruddas Park was posh in those days. Well, it was their 8th pub, but it was the first that they had owned. Now, in 1857, aged 55, Harry had had about 500 races, and he was now renowned as a boat designer and builder and as a coach. So retirement from rowing beckoned. Well, in 1868, owning the Clasper Hotel meant that Harry was legally entitled to vote for the first time. I mean, he was 56 years old. He'd been a world champion already for 23 years. Well, by now, the Clasper Hotel was getting a bit big for Harry, with some of the bends moving out. So he moved to the Barley Mow Inn at the Milk Market on Newcastle Quayside. It's still there today, actually, although it's a bit dilapidated now, like. And then a few months later, he moved to the Tunnel Inn at Oosburn, Newcastle. Now, Robert Chambers ran the King's Head just up the road at Pottery Bank in Walker. Tragically, a few months later, Chambers, aged just 37, died of TB. 60,000 people turned out for his funeral. A fitting tribute to the greatest natural sculler that the world had ever seen. And then, on the 9th of July 1870, 155 years ago, Harry had a stroke. Little bit of irony there, don't you think?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great sadness that I have to announce the death of my dear husband. As you are aware, Harry took ill 4 days ago. He passed away peacefully in the presence of his family at 10 a.m.
Well, the news spread quickly, and it was reported worldwide. Grown men shed tears when they heard. The Evening Chronicle said that Harry was the foster father of the present generation of oarsmen and the father of the modern system of boat racing. Well, Harry's funeral took place on a Sunday. Otherwise, it would have resembled a general strike. 130,000 people turned up. Now, the procession was due off from the Tunnel Inn at 2:45 p.m, but people began assembling hours earlier. The funeral was led by Mr. Stevenson's excellent band. The hearse was pulled by 4 black-plumed horses. Behind these, 200 local oarsmen and members of the Tyne Rowing Club. Behind these, 4 mourning coaches containing close friends and family. Behind these, friends walking 3 abreast. Behind these, 18 private carriages containing gentlemen of the neighbourhood. And behind them, on foot, the general public, Harry's people. Thousands of them lined the route every step of the way as the procession made its way along City Road, Newgate Street, down Grey Street, past the Theatre Royal, Dean Street, and to the water's edge. Thousands more crammed the bridges. Both banks were swollen with men, women, boys, girls, babes in arms, whippets. I mean, the cortege took 8 hours to reach the riverside, a distance of just 2 miles. Harry's body then traversed the Tyne on a tug appropriately called the Robert Chambers, and hundreds more followed on in boats. Upon reaching the Derwent across the championship course for the final time, Harry's body was transferred to a hearse and travelled over the cinder heaps behind the ovens where Harry had started out as a coke burner. 3 hours later, the procession reached St Mary's Churchyard, Wickham. The bell tolled and the grave was reached with difficulty. The 6 miles had taken 12 hours to complete. And that night, there wasn't a dry pub left in Wickham. Harry's memorial still looks out over his beloved River Tyne today. We still await a statue by the Tyne itself. But then, in 2017, thanks in no small part due to some little upstart who happened to make a play about his life, Harry's achievements were finally recognised with a blue plaque at the base of the High Level Bridge. Now, back to 1871, and a third tragedy befell Tyne Rowing. James Renforth, aged just 29, was inspired by Harry, was one of the pallbearers at his funeral. He collapsed while racing in Canada. TB had stolen another life. Now, Renforth was world sculling champion from 1868 until his death 3 years later. He too, a Geordie hero. But you see, we're not here to mourn the passing of these pioneers. We're here to celebrate their greatness. We're here to celebrate working class values, honesty, determination, self-sacrifice, humour, durability, solidarity. We're here to celebrate Harry Clasper. Now, you might need to help us with this one. We are here to celebrate Geordie spirit. I went to Blaydon races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. We took the bus from Balmbrass and she was heavy laden. Away we went and Conwood Street, that's on the road to Blaydon. Oh, we lads, you should have seen us running, past the folks along the road, just as they were standing. All the lads and lasses there, all the smiling faces, gathered around the Scotchwood Road to see the Blaydon races. Oh well, we flew past on from factory up to the Robin Adair. Just an hour the railway bridge, the bus wheel flew off there. The lasses lost their crinolines in veils what hide their faces. I got 2 black eyes and a broken nose, got the Blaydon races. Oh, we lads, you should have seen us standing, past the folks along the road, just as they were standing. All the lads and and sharing this wonderful story with us. It's been my pleasure and my honour and my privilege to have performed this story for audiences all across the UK over the past 10 years. We've done 4 tours. This is the 10th anniversary tour and marks my final time in the role. I'm not getting any younger and it's quite difficult. But no, seriously, it really has been a pleasure. Thank you for being part of It's Story. I would like to dedicate this particular performance to my dad, who is rowing his own little race at the moment. And thank you again. We've got one more performance tomorrow at Berwick. And it's been a wonderful journey, a wonderful chapter in my life. Thank you to Ed, who's sat over there somewhere in the darkness, for writing such a wonderful tale and keeping these stories alive. It's been a real privilege. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Last performance, he's got another thing coming. No, for this, he'll be back. Gareth, can you do something? Get the Ben on this stage. He wants you on the stage. You've done it before. You can remember when you put Willow on and we took it as a laugh a laugh. You've still got that. She's in a choir now. I mean, it's. Aye.
What inspired you? How did you found the subject or like it's first time I heard about it? Brilliant, absolutely loved it.
Just it's a Jordan story.
Right.
And people don't know about it. And you know, we did a lot of research obviously. And it's that's what we wanted to do. We want to get that over. Brilliant. But the way to capture it's everything, doesn't it? Dozens of times. I couldn't breathe. I've seen it for a while. I couldn't breathe in that way.
It's brilliant. You feel like you're on that riverbank. Like,
exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. We've got lots of other things on, you know. Do you live in South Tyneside?
No, we live in Widrington, Morpeth.
On Morpeth, lots of things happening in Morpeth. So go on the website, Cramlington Train Wreckers.
Oh, right.
Cramlington Train Wreckers. So that's the last play that we had. That's all that we had. If you go on, we've got walks, we've got loads of, if you're interested in history, we've got lots of things happening, you know. But it's called Cramlington Train Wreckers.
Cool, we'll have a look.
Or there's Wisecraft Productions. So have a look. We've got loads of stuff.
Brilliant. Thank you.